My name is Steve O'Keefe, and as I said, I'm the Product Marketing Director for the Red Hat Mobile Application Platform. I'm very pleased to be here and to introduce Vincent Sritapan. Vincent?
Hi, Vincent Sritapan. I work for DHS Science and Technology. I'm the Mobile Security R&D Program Manager. So if you look at who does mobile security for the government, we do research and innovation.
Excellent. So I thought we'd start our conversation today with, Vincent, could you just share with us a little bit of the journey you've been on around secure mobile application development, from the policy, et cetera, and the journey you've been on?
Yeah, so for those of you who may know Department of Homeland Security and specifically Science and Technology Directorate, we're a little different in that, yes, we do focus on protecting the Homeland Security mission. However, our research and development is around, enabling the mission, right? And this goes beyond just, your traditional FEMA, TSA, CBP. We actually have customers that include Department of Justice, Army, DISA, you name it, anybody within federal civilian departments or agencies or Department of Defense we work with. And this is around secure mobility, right? So the idea here is that we've done one investment in this case, so it's actually one of 5, where we invested in Red Hat and Cryptowire to do integrating security throughout the life cycle of mobile app development. So how did we actually get here? Comes down to, yes, we've been working on mobile for a long time. If you looked at our report to Congress this year, you would see we did a report. It's titled DHS Study on Mobile Device Security. It was a report to Congress looking at the threats of mobility across the federal space and how we would actually use that. And so what we looked at and we saw, not to scare anybody, if anyone wants to get scared or any of that, you could just essentially just read the report, right? It's online, great, 120 plus pages, 163 citations, great. You learn all the threats across the entire ecosystem. But specifically to mobile development, what we've seen across the board, and you'll see this, right? MyTSA, the application, FEMA, eDivo on the DoD side, we have mobile applications across the board everywhere. The question comes down to it is, well, what due diligence are we taking, right? To get to where we are today, we said, well, yes, there's lots of threats out there, both internal and external threats. But what policies are in place? What standards, best practices, what technologies are out there, right? And is the technology transparent? What we found is that there's lots of guidance, right? Whether it's NIST special publications or GSMA guidance or whatever it is that you're going to find out there on NIAP protection profiles. But what we looked at was that none of this was really required. Right? Security to develop a mobile application for the government is not there. It's not a requirement across the board. So, in my journey and getting to where we are today, we've done with this report and other aspects, it was, DOD, GSA, NIST, all helping out to do this. We've seen things like, if you haven't seen it yet, FISMA for FY18 includes mobile assets, right? If you've never reported on mobile devices and applications, well, guess what? You will be doing it coming up. And then if you hate someone, you can hate me later. But the idea here is that having accountability, right, making it a requirement for CIOs, because you can tell CIOs all day long that this is the threat, this is what's happening to you. But unless it's a real requirement and it's mandated, they don't necessarily have the time to do it, and the budgets are limited. So I totally understand that. So making it a requirement is where we're getting to. And for us, mobile application security as a requirement isn't quite there yet. You may have seen the DoD mobile app vetting memo. So Dr. Zangardi, when he was there, signed that. It makes the protection profile, NIAP's protection profile, so National Information Assurance Partnership, the criteria that if you develop a mobile application, so government-developed app with a back-end system of some sort, but the idea here is that you have to abide by security requirements, right? And so, with Dr. Zangardi coming to be the new DHS CIO, even more so, we're expecting mobility to become an area, a key focus. So when we look at secure applications, we've invested on the research and development side to integrate security throughout the lifecycle. And we've taken things like mobile application vetting and how we automate that capability, provide transparency to both the developer and the mobile end user and the enterprise so that we know, yeah, if there's something wrong, this is where you would go fix it. This is how you would fix it. And you're able to meet a standard, right? Not just any security vendor telling you, oh, well, we do security. But the idea here is you know what you're looking at. So.
All right, that's quite a journey you've been on, huh?
Sorry.
So I wonder if you could talk a little bit about sort of the value you see in mobile security and interjecting mobile security earlier in the life cycle in the development of the application or the mobile app.
Yeah, so a part of the journey and also why we see value in this. And so like people ask, well, why did we do this, right? What's the value that we get out of this? And I can give you an example. When we first started out in 2015 timeframe, we actually, had a smaller investment in Cryptowire, to a mobile application vetting company. We went to TSA. We said, hey, we'd love to you try this out. We want to pilot it. Look at your capability. You have a mobile app. It's my TSA. And we wanted to have that evaluated, right? They said, no, we actually have another product. We're good. Don't need it. Everything's great. And I said, oh, wonderful. Okay, so we'll leave. Not a problem. And so they said, no, wait. The boss came back and said, hey, why don't you come take a look at my TSA? We looked at that app. And what did we find as a result? We found hard-coded credentials to MySQL database on the back end. What does this mean? This means that, hey, I'm using a MyTSA app, and guess what? I'm exposing the back end, and it wasn't on purpose. It's already been fixed, so it's all good. No, it's all resolved now. But the idea here is that that was something after the fact. That's after an application has been built. Right? When we talk about bringing it closer to the developer, like those are problems being solved, we're talking about, well, great, I want to actually put this in so that the developer doesn't have to know how to build a mobile application securely. I can have templates in there. I can integrate the actual APIs and actual security vetting a part of the entire process. If you think about current day technology, you can think about security vetting. Happens today. If you wanted to do the NIAP protection profile, it's about $40,000 to $60,000. Takes about 2 to 3 months to evaluate one mobile app, whether iOS or Android. That's a lot of money, one, and that's for one major app version. If you get a new app version that comes out, well, guess what? That's another 40 to 60 grand and 2 to 3 months worth of waiting. So anyone who tells you, yeah, it's going to take you a lot of time, we don't want that, right? We want to bring it closer to the developer. If there's a new update to the application or there's a vulnerability that comes out, we want to automatically, in this case, integrate that security application and security capabilities throughout the lifecycle.
And so that's why you've funded the project that Red Hat and Cryptowire are working on, right? So what we're doing with Red Hat Mobile Application Platform and then Cryptowire, Angelos is over there if you want to see it. We are working together to integrate that app vetting earlier and earlier in the dev lifecycle. Right? So you heard about the cost of doing it after you produce that major version. But what if you could take security best practices and templatize them? Make an app template that the developer begins with so your starting base of coding is already following the best security protocols. And then once you've built that app, once you've coded that app, you can do app vetting of that application before you go and put it into production. Right? So we're integrating the Cryptowire app vetting capabilities into the mobile application platform. So the developer who's building apps and using the technologies you've heard throughout the day, containers, microservices, APIs, right, into a DevOps pipeline lifecycle, they're now doing app vetting within that time frame. So they're doing it much, much earlier in the cycle. You can be assured that it's done. And then you can see the reports. And if the report comes up negative, they can go back, recode that app. You can pull the report again, and now you're assured that that is a secure app, both the client app and any server-side apps that they're running, any microservices that they're building. Right? So that's where we're trying to advance state-of-the-art in app vetting for mobile app security and sort of answer this vision that Vincent's laid out here. So with that, where do you want to take this? What's the next sort of turn of the crank for mobile app security in your mind after we've made it in the dev time and not the run time?
Yeah, so the next part, as far as we go down this path, so this is actually a 2-year project for people who are aware. And you're going to see everything from different milestones being met and integrated into commercial product as we go forward. But we have customers actually lined up, whether it's Department of Justice, who we have a signed letter of intent with, to Army that we work with daily, DISA included, CBP and TSA. These types of things where we say, hey, we build it once, and it's common, right? Whether you're building it and you have it both for iOS and Android platforms, we want to have something like, why Red Hat? Well, build it once, deploy it across multiple platforms. That's the idea, right? So building it so that you can see, if you look at, I think it's USA.gov, they have a list of mobile applications for, that's publicly facing, right, across all of government. It's around 300 plus applications. Go look. Look at what's there today versus look at what the demand is going forward. Those are all publicly available applications. What we're seeing inside is that we have mission applications that will probably never see the light of day for the citizenry, but it's being used by our law enforcement, by our border patrol folks. These are things that we want to build and actually streamline the innovation, right? Because we have requirements today, but because of various security pieces, the apps currently are really around, do I just collect some information or I just provide you some information? They're really not about collaboration and actually mission accomplishment to a certain extent, right? We've been hampered before. By opening this up, we're hoping to spur innovation and actually meet mission demand.
Excellent. And one thing that we're looking at in the project, and you heard Vincent say it's a couple of years in duration, is if we can take the Cryptowire capability of scanning code and identifying vulnerabilities and move that into the development tools that a developer is using, so that when they inject or, excuse me, write or bring in a piece of code that might violate a security policy, it can be highlighted and remediated by the developer right there. It's part of the ongoing education, and it's about ongoing efficiency of moving that security thought, that security notion, much, much further into the developer's life cycle, so that when you build it, you are assured that it comes out and it's got a report, and you've got a secure mobile app connecting to a secure back end, which is what everybody wants, so that we can take these apps and put them out, you know, and support these agency missions. Right? So any final words, Vincent?
I'd say, you know, keep watching, more to come. There's a lot of things going on in mobility. I know cloud is a very big thing, and definitely on the horizon is still as we migrate over and deal with open hybrid cloud and other aspects. You know, government is a very interesting moving beast in that sense. But I will say that mobility is not only here to stay, but you're going to see more and more requirements that come forward, whether it's special publications, FISMA compliance, continuous diagnostics and mitigation. All of these aspects are going to be baked in because we have to be accountable for it. So these types of tools, right, if you're not building off of these types of platforms, then the question becomes, you know, well, what are you actually doing for your security? How are you actually being transparent? Do you actually know what you're looking at? So going forward, I'd say, you know, keep an eye on what we're doing here, what we're doing across the federal space. And if you're interested, you know, if a department or agency wants to get involved with this project, let us know. Reach out. You can find me. Just Google my name. It's probably the only one there. You know, easily just let me know, and we can actually get you involved.
All right, thank you. And on behalf of Red Hat, it's our pleasure to partner with DHS, with Cryptowire, and collaborate with you on this vision for mobile app development security. Thank you for coming today. Thank you very much.